Welcome to episode number 3 of the Practice Players Podcast. I'm Daniel alongside Nick,
And David.
And Brennan Rigsby.
and we are the Practice Players. Today, like we said, we're joined by Brennan Rigsby. Brennan, a friend of mine who is now playing for the University of Oregon as a sophomore, and I don't want to spend too much time talking. I think the people would rather hear you talk, Brennan. So just ask you first. I want you to introduce yourself and talk about your journey up to this point.
Well, it's been a long journey. It's been a wild one. Started from living in Colorado in a small town of 500 people, and then went to high school out in Utah, and then then went to JUCO, and then now somehow I'm out in Oregon. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, so obviously you did take a JUCO route. What would you give advice to players wanting to go from JUCO to D1 and how to get exposure and things like that?
I think the biggest thing from trying to get exposure on the JUCO route is just kind of showing what you can bring to the next level. If that's from shooting the ball or maybe playing defense or just being the ultimate hustle guy, it's just trying to showcase this is what I'm going to do and this is what I'm going to carry over to your program. A term that I heard a lot playing at JUCO and getting recruited was, oh, we think you're going to be a plug-in guy. And that means you just come straight from JUCO, they plug you in, and then you're playing. And you want to be one of those guys. You don't want to be a guy that they think you might have to sit a year and learn how to play at D1 and then play the next year. They really like guys that are just plug in, get it going, and start playing.
Yeah, and I heard you got a special delivery from your JUCO. So if you want flex that delivery, talk about your championship season a little bit.
Yeah, today, literally 15 minutes ago, got called. I had a package and luckily got this in the mail. Got the ring from the national championship. So that was really nice. That's cool. Shout out to Northwest Florida, man. But that run will forever be instilled in my mind. It was just such a great time. Going to Hutch is just such a great, just awesome experience. It is weird being out in the middle of Kansas. There's nothing to do, but it is just a good time. You're just out there with your teammates having fun.
And if you want to elaborate, just for some people who may not know, what was that season like and what helped you guys win a championship?
I think all college seasons, they have their ups and downs, and we started off pretty hot. I think by final couple weeks of the season, we were 29-3 or whatever. Dang. And we ended the season off the last 5 games going I think last 5 games we went 2-3. So we started off really hot, and then towards the end of the season, it kind of died down. And going into the tournament, they gave us a pretty lower seed than we expected. I thought we were probably a 2-1 seed, and they gave us a 10 seed. So going into it, we just try to buckle down and just it was just one game at a time at that point. You can't lose. It's win or go home. So just one game at a time type mentality, and just kept winning, got to the chip, and had a good one.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Any championship is a good championship.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so how did you end up at Oregon? What did that recruiting process look like for you?
Yeah, so I was getting recruited by Coach Crutchfield. He's the head coach at Omaha now, but he was recruiting me, and it started about late December, early January. They just started recruiting me, and I think I got the offer in late January is when they officially offered me, and it was awesome because Oregon's been my dream school since I was a little kid. Loved Oregon.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's just a great. When he called me, he was like, I'm Coach Crutchfield from Oregon. I was stunned. I was like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
I didn't expect. It just was baffling in a sense. I was stunned, and it was really cool to just be able to live out a dream like that.
That's awesome that was your dream school. That's literally every child dreams of moments like that, probably.
Yep.
And then one thing I was definitely eager to ask you, your opinion, as you said, you went to a program like Wasatch, which is typically not your regular high school, and you were surrounded by tons of talent, Caleb Lohner, our boy Pop Pop, my boy Roddy. In your opinion, are you glad you took that path to be around other elite talent, or does part of you also wish you had that normal high school basketball experience?
No, I'm very grateful that I did that in the long run. During the time it's weird because you move away from home. You're not living with your parents no more. I was 16, moved out. I was doing my own laundry. It's definitely a weird experience at first, but I'm grateful that I did it because one, I've met so many people that just so many people in my life, so many friends now, and just connections for life in a sense. And you don't really get those going to a normal high school. And like you said, like you named a couple of people that we wouldn't have in common other than like because of basketball and because of going to that school, give me connections, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that.
Go ahead. You're good.
Oh, I was gonna say this is kind of. I feel like I'm curious. Dave and I maybe are more curious because Nick and Brennan, you guys are obviously players, but I have the question of like, have you ever let locker rooms and your relationships in those and locker rooms impact the way that you play, like individually, or has that not really been a problem over your career? Because I know you've been on a lot of different teams. You obviously, I mean, Wasatch, your JUCO school, and obviously now here. I'm curious as to how that has played a part in your individual game.
I'd definitely say it can be a positive and a negative. Because some people might think, oh, he's just passing it to that person because that's his homeboy or something like that. Like, there's definitely those positive and negative points where maybe because you're really good with everybody on the team, you play a lot harder than most teams because you guys have a good connection. You guys want to play hard for each other. You want to put it all out on the line. But then there is that negative where some people, they might, because they don't like somebody, they don't go as hard. They don't pass on the ball maybe. So I would say there's a positive and negative to that for sure.
I would piggyback on that. It's the same kind of. I've been in a couple of locker rooms in like JUCO and obviously now here at UNLV, but the chemistry, like in comparison to my junior college team, which was a very subpar team, no offense, but comparison to UNLV, like the locker room chemistry is miles apart. Like all the guys love each other, everybody's cool with each other, and it definitely brings success to the program.
For sure.
I wanted to ask you, this might be an odd question, but is Dan the worst Oregon's men's basketball manager? Wanted to ask. Worst.
I don't know. Hey, I would say he definitely gets the most laughs out of everybody. He definitely is one of the funniest. I don't know if he's on the worst. He's definitely. I think we have one of the best manager crews in the nation. They're all good guys. They're all funny. They do the right stuff. And Dan's a great guy, great manager.
Yeah, top two, not
I
one.
appreciate that answer, Brennan.
Yeah, Dan, top two, not one. That's a good ranking. Second best manager.
If he wasn't a Cowboys fan, he would be top tier, but that brings him down.
It brings him down on my list too.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd say maybe I let the guys in the program know a little bit too much about the Cowboys' success sometimes, and that I might get carried away a little bit. But
I don't know if first round exits are successes, but next question I sort of had prepared here. I mean, you probably saw this one coming. We got to talk about that ball is life viral dunk. I mean, East Bay one step in from the free throw line. Like, what was going through your head as that happened, and what was the love like on social media afterwards?
So yeah, like when I got the steal and I looked up the floor, it was pretty funny. Pop was in front of me, and I just got the steal, and I told myself as soon as I got the steal, like, oh, I'm going to go for the tween. No, there's nobody up there. And I kind of saw him, and he was like looking for the ball to get him a dunk. And I literally, if you look at the video, I shake my head. I'm like, nah, I got this. And I go up, hit the tween, and I fell at first. And once everybody started running around, I was like, holy crap, I made it. And, after the game, people were still just like, holy crap, that was insane, dude. Like, what, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know it was going to blow up as much as it did. the Ball is Life guy, PD Films, he was there, and he told me like, hey, this might be a big video, and I was thinking like, oh, I might get like 1,000 followers out of it. That's what I was hoping. I think I had like 400 followers at the time, so I was hoping maybe get 1,000 or something. I was like, that would be cool. And like right before I went to bed, they posted it, and my phone, it was just on a constant vibrate. And I was trying to go to bed, so I was like, what the heck? What is happening? And I thought my phone got hacked or something. I thought my Instagram got hacked because all of a sudden it was just rolling the Instagram notifications, and they were just kept rolling. It was like, blah, 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 followed you, followed. And I thought, I was like, am I getting hacked right now? What is happening? So I go check my Instagram, and they posted the video, and it was already blown up. And it was already near like 1 million views by that at that point. And I think I woke up the next day with like 17,000 followers. And I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
I had to turn off the notifications because it was killing my phone. My phone died.
No, that's crazy. And is that bounce something that you trained, or is that like mom just gave you a lot of broccoli and milk as a kid?
I would say it's a lot of genetics, to be honest. You know, my dad was a high jumper, and my mom was an athletic woman. And, you know, so I just would say it was a lot of just genetics in that point.
I have a
Yeah,
question for. Oh, no, you go, Nick.
I was just gonna add, like, I remember watching that video and I was just like, no way. Because obviously we had ties to Pop, so we saw Pop and we were like, oh, it's Wasatch, let's see what happened. And we're all sitting in like at practice, we're looking at our phones after practice, and we see this video and we just look at each other like, really? Like, that just happened? Millions of views. I'm pretty sure I followed you at the time after that too. Like, it was a crazy video. Go ahead,
It
Dan.
was.
Oh, this is kind of a question for both Nick and Brennan, but I think mainly more geared toward Brennan. Have you guys ever, like, when you're in a game or just in general on a team, have you ever like tried changing the way you play in order to blend in with other people's games on your team? I'm always curious as to, like, maybe if, you know, there's a team like Brennan, you know, you're a great shooter, but you're also a great finisher. Maybe on like our team this year, we need more shooters. Like, have you ever geared your game toward one ability that you have in order to better, you know, make the game kind of flow better?
Oh, definitely. Like, for my instance, like last year at my JUCO, we had a lot of great drivers, and we had a lot of great, like, I would just say like ISO players in a sense. So I really was a floor spacer, and really just try to shoot the lights out and stuff like in that sense. Yeah, I would definitely say there's people that you got to blend in with, because some people's games are just what it is. Like, you can't really change it. They're gonna do what they're gonna do, and sometimes you gotta kind of fix your game towards their benefit.
Yeah, I can't really say much about right now because I don't play, but when it goes to like when I played at my JUCO, I was literally just a floor spacer. I was putting me in the corner. If the man helped, they would pass. I would shoot a three. That was my role. I always felt like I was more of a player than that, but I embraced my role because, you know, if you don't embrace it, you don't play. So that's kind of how that goes.
Yeah.
And then one thing I wanted to ask, your preparation as a player going into this year, you weren't projected to play as many minutes as you are now just due to injuries and various things. So, and you're playing phenomenal. I watch a lot of Oregon games. So what about the preparation side, whether it be mentally in the gym, helped you to be ready for that moment?
I would just say just trying to be ready at all times. You know, you don't know when your number's going to be called. You don't know when you're going to have to play a lot of minutes, not play. You know, you just got to be ready at all times and just be ready to give it your all. I would say that's the biggest thing I've been trying to do is just staying ready, that like no matter what, I'm ready. It doesn't matter. Like if I play 40 minutes, 10 minutes, I'm just going to be ready and be ready to play.
And then I think the biggest question we have here is how's Dan been looking in those manager games? Have you ever seen a jump shot look so ugly but go in so much?
I've never seen someone's jump shot like Dan's. You know, last manager game, I think he had like 5 threes. He was cooking there for a while. He was getting them up. He was hitting shots. You know, So I've never seen a shot like Dan's, but it was impressive to see him go in.
Like
I will
he's
say I
basic.
don't.
Dan, you're like a 5'11" Jokic.
That is
Yeah,
that's the best
Jokic.
comparison I've heard. That is the best comparison.
Baby Jokic.
I get ridiculed a lot here. It's more at Oregon than at home for my jump shot, but if it goes in, it goes in. So that's kind of how I would say though, shooting coaches absolutely hate watching me shoot. I have had shooting coaches over the years go, I don't know how or why you shoot like that, but it goes in. So I kind of have that Joakim Noah effort.
Yeah, 2 hands.
We all just did it. And then, Brennan, one more I had for you, if you don't mind sharing, is what career aspirations do you have after college, whether it be play professionally, coaching, something completely different?
Biggest thing is I want to try to just play the game as long as I can, just keep playing. I love basketball, so I just want to play it as long as I can. And then once I'm done playing, I would like to get into coaching or something in that aspect. Or I think it'd be fun to go back home, try to coach up some kids in that area. So something in that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I don't even know the answer to this question. I've never asked you it, but obviously you talked about how you grew up in Colorado with just only 500 people. Would you
Yeah.
ever want to go back to Colorado to maybe kind of like be maybe a social face there and maybe like do something, for where you were from or because I know now that you kind of have that platform, you have that option.
Yeah, I definitely want to try to go back home and try to help the area in the sense, like where I live, it's only 500 people, but there's a lot of bigger city-ish kind of places. Like Grand Junction's about the size of Eugene, about like 100,000, 200,000 people. So I just want to go back to the area and be able to help people out and show them what it takes, because I was kind of the first person in the area to ever break the wall and get to the place I am today. So I would love to just go back and help people out, show them what it takes, and kind of mentor people.
Okay, should we do our segment for the week?
I think we're ready for the storyline.
Okay, so I don't know if you know this, Brennan, but every week we do a storyline of the week, whether we see something cool in college basketball that maybe we want to share that happens across the country. So Dave, start us off. What do you have?
Yeah, I mean, y'all probably saw this one coming. Have respect for this program, but I have to bring it up. Last night, a 4-8 Central Michigan went to Ann Arbor and beat the team up north. So going into
listening, that's
Wait,
Michigan. That's
Dave,
Michigan for all of you listening,
yeah,
but he
Michigan.
just calls it the team up
He
north
can't say
because
it's that
from
team
the
up
O.
north. That team up north, I respect them. But with that loss to a 4-8 team in a bye game, the Wolverines now move to 7-5 entering Big Ten play. Their best win is probably against Pitt. So to me, from the outside looking in, they're going to need to have a strong conference play in arguably the deepest conference in college basketball in order to contend for maybe a first 4 game. So it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt because, Jawan's a great coach. They have phenomenal talent. They're going to adapt. But 7-5 to start off, I mean, they dug themselves a hole. So I'm interested to watch as a close team in the Big Ten next to them what's going to happen there.
Yeah. I bring in my storyline of the week, another Big Ten team along with UConn. Purdue and UConn, in my opinion, look like the two strongest. I mean, obviously, in 1 and 2 in the rankings, so a lot of people agree with me. But they just look ridiculously talented, scary to watch. And I mean, Dave, I know you guys have Purdue coming up in about a week.
January 5th
be
in the shot.
I'll be tuned in for that one for sure.
Well, to piggyback off that one, I would say the storyline for me is UConn playing Xavier in a couple days. I think that will be a big game. I think both Big East teams, so it's a conference game, 2 versus 22. I think that will be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, Brennan, we played UConn in the PK invite last month, and they were outstanding. I mean,
Oh,
Adama Sunoco and Donovan Clingan might be the best 1-2 big man punch in college basketball. The
definitely.
UConn has looked unbelievably impressive, and obviously so has Purdue. Zach Edey's 7'4". You can't stop him in terms of just his physicality and his
Yep.
height and his demeanor. But yeah, to answer your question, Nick, I think that right now, out of those two, I would probably take Purdue to lose first. I think that Ohio State game on January 5th. I'll give Dave a little bit. I think that's going to be a great game, and I think Ohio State has a shot of winning that one because Big Zed's tough to stop down there. So
Yep.
I would say I'd say UConn's going to go undefeated the longest.
I like that, Dan. I like that a lot. Well, unless anyone has anything else, think this was a wonderful episode here. Brennan, appreciate you coming on, answering some questions, taking care of our boy Danny out there. Make sure he doesn't get into any trouble.
For sure. Appreciate y'all, man, having me. I'll make sure Dan doesn't get in any trouble. Yo.
Okay.
Yeah, whoever listened this far, appreciate you guys listening. Go follow Brennan on all his socials. He'll be tagged in all our Instagram stuff and whatnot. And as always, PPP out.
Peace.
Peace.